Welcome to the Snap UK podcast, your home for news, views and opinions on the NFL on this side of the pond. With me today I have a nearly full house of losers. John, Jim, Gary, say hello.
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 I'm not going to argue at that point, actually.
There is not one winner at this table.
I know.
I am very pleased that the Giants didn't win.
Yeah. God for that.
Thank you for joining us for our week 3 review. Don't forget to check out the website, thesnappodcast.com, and to join in with the discussion and debates on Twitter.
At the Snap UK.
I will learn it. Week 3
It's a
may
fucking name.
have had as many tight finishes as week 2, but there were upsets and mishaps galore. We'll start with last Thursday night's football. The Browns and Steelers kicked off week 3. Cleveland still reeling from their 2-minute meltdown in week 2. Luckily for them, they encountered a Pittsburgh team missing key pieces on the D, and with a quarterback controversy seemingly never far away. Is it time to pick it? Ask the miners. That's the correct
Well, the
response.
fans have definitely formed a picket line.
So
Thank you very much.
oh,
That's what I was waiting for. Paul's not here. Somebody had to do it.
I didn't even see that.
I was teeing it up. That's what I was waiting for. Yes, well, it's time. Mitch Trubisky can't get anything cooking. You might as well try the rookie.
Yeah.
I'm game as well. Go for it.
I bought him in Dynasty.
Move on.
I think it's coming very soon.
Yeah, I do as well. I said by week 6. I think it's coming.
I think the only barrier to that is the stubbornness of Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, I think Mike Tomlin's quite a cautious coach. I think he puts his faith in defence mostly.
That's
can't.
fine when you've got TJ Watt, but when
Yeah.
you don't have TJ Watt, you've got to gamble.
Yes, but it is faith in defence because that's all this team is. Like,
It shouldn't be though, should it?
no,
They've got
absolutely.
pieces.
They've got pieces in the offense. They're missing an offensive line, but there are pieces.
That is a big piece to be missing.
It's a big piece to miss.
Amari Cooper came up good. Nick Chubb came up good.
I was talking about the Steelers, though.
I know, but I've moved on because they're dull.
But the Browns, they are good. Like, they're missing a quarterback, but their roster is
Jacoby Brissett's doing all right.
their roster is good.
Yeah, no, their roster is good. I'm saying, are they missing a quarterback, though? Because, Jacoby Brissett's doing...
He's pretty much the mid-level, isn't
He
he?
was
he's doing
perfectly
a fine
average
job.
at the Colts as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He was
Yeah.
been perfectly average everywhere.
He's no better than what the Colts
he's
have
another
got.
Tyrod or Teddy Bridgewater,
Yeah.
isn't he?
Well, also,
he's a holder.
Yeah, the game they've got, when you've got the running game with Nick Chubb playing the way he's playing, Kareem Hunt is another obviously running option, but also a pass-catching back who you don't have to throw the ball far, and he's going to make yards. I think
If he keeps them at 500 by the time Deshaun Watson comes back, they've got a great
game
chance
on, yeah.
of being in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the rest of their fixtures look like while Watson's away, but to be 2-1 after 3, there's no saying that they'd have been any better off with Deshaun Watson.
they've got next Falcons, they'll win that. Chargers, probably win that, based on how the Chargers are playing. Patriots, probably win that. Ravens, that'll be a tough one.
They'll lose to the Ravens.
Lose to the
Yeah,
Ravens this
But
year.
they're still
That would
above
make them
500.
5-2.
I mean, there's
And
three...
when's he back? Week 12?
11, 12.
12. Well, I think it's
It's
week
Texans.
13
Well,
technically because
so
it's
it's Texans. Is it the Texans that
Yeah.
he comes back? So they've got the Bucks, the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Bengals after that little run. So
So they probably lose 3 of those
Yeah.
4.
Yeah,
at
so if
least.
they can get to kind of 6-6 by the time Watson comes back,
Yeah.
with kind of
Even if
5
they're only
games
one
to
game
go,
behind.
5 games to go.
Yeah.
also the way that
9 or 10 wins will
the way
normally
that
get you in.
The way that Steelers and the Bengals have started the season, it's on for the Browns, unfortunately.
They don't look as lost as I thought they might. Right.
It's a shame, isn't it?
To be fair, I've got nothing against them until Watson comes back.
That's the problem.
Nothing. Elsewhere in the AFC North, the Ravens flew to Gillette Stadium and continually pounded away at the Patriots in what was a back-and-forth game for 3 quarters before Lamar proved his worth once more and hit the accelerator. One team has a vision of where they're headed, and one is left looking back at past glories with their fingers crossed. Baltimore 37, New England 26. Where do you want to start?
Well, I have been waiting for this for a good couple of days just to...
Where do you want to start, Griff?
Yeah.
Well, do you want to go coach or quarterback?
Oh, let's go coach.
Okay, he looks like someone lost their dad out of the old folks' home. He's completely baffled. He's got 2 guys propping him up that don't know what they're doing. You've got a special teams coordinator and a defensive coach, both trying to call offensive plays.
What is Matt Patricia doing offense?
I don't know, but he looks homeless. Belichick looks like he's come out of the old folks' home, and no one's seen Joe Judge since the start of the season. It's bizarre.
Probably for the best.
Paul Mac Jones, he's leading the league in interceptions. 5 interceptions, only 2 touchdowns. He was actually having to run for scores because they were dying up the wrong place. He is not a player that should be running for scores.
5 carries for 31 yards. That's pretty
Yeah,
decent.
yeah, absolutely.
And a touchdown.
And then finished the game off on the very last play of the game by getting a high ankle sprain.
It looked painful.
It looked bad.
They're refusing to talk about it, which suggests it's not
High
great.
ankle sprains normally about 4 to 5
4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah. Or
But they could need like surgery on it, which would be 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So
and
who's
it's
the
whether
backup?
well, the backup
Brian
is your
Hoyer.
favourite, Brian Hoyer. But this is where I was getting to. Now we know what Brian Hoyer can't do, which is play quarterback in the NFL anymore.
I mean, he couldn't do it like
Anymore?
He couldn't do it 4 years ago.
Well, he couldn't do it in 2020 when you remember when Cam got COVID. Brian Hoyer was given the start for game against the Chiefs, and at the end of the first half, he was benched for Jared Stidham.
Could you not just go and get Cam back?
Well, so yes, theoretically,
Because he's out there and he's cheap.
He was terrible.
he was bad.
Better than Brian Hoyer.
He would be better than Brian Hoyer, and it's going to be a power running game now. That's all we've got.
And even your run game looked a little bit tired this week.
Oh, I don't know. They played all right.
I thought the run game was
And
fine.
credit to Mac Jones, he was getting something out of Devontae Parker. He had 150
56
yards.
yards.
Yeah,
That connection was working well. I agree. I feel sorry for Matt Jones because he's
I
not.
think it's bad. The fact that they lost McDaniels and didn't replace him, it has been disastrous for
It's
Mac
like
Jones.
we kind of briefly mentioned. It's similar to the Steelers. Like they've got parts on the offense.
Yeah.
Their offensive line is actually better, but they just don't seem to have a game plan. They don't seem
Do
to
you
have an
know
offense.
what I think, actually? So, the Patriots never scored much more than 25 points last season.
No.
Yeah? That's kind of your offense is just functional. It's not special, it's just functional. But normally your defense is, top 5 in the league.
Yeah.
And you just conceded 37 points.
Yeah.
That is the problem.
It
Your
is the problem.
defense is not anywhere
37,
near
I mean,
good
to be
enough.
fair, 37 points against one of the better teams in the league.
I know, but that is still a lot
But it's
of
still
points.
a lot of points. I think we pointed this out before the season. They're missing. Like, there's usually 1 or 2
Stars.
3, 4 stars, especially at linebacker where they've been consistently strong for all the way back to like Teddy Bruschi, McGinnis, those type of players, all the way through to Devontae Hightower. Hightower?
Yep.
Donta.
Hightower. I was more confused over Hightower. I was like, hang on,
It's definitely Hightower.
That's Police Academy.
Yeah, I watched that.
Kyle Van Noy.
Kyle Van Noy. There's nothing there at linebacker.
Well, they were bringing back Jamie Collins when we left here last week.
Well,
But
exactly.
It's not even that, is it? Gilmore. There's just so
letting
many.
Gilmore go was
Even
bad.
like Jamie Collins, it's like that's a reach,
Is
isn't it?
Chung,
He always
is
plays well
Chung
for
still
us.
there?
No,
No, he's gone as well.
Chung
Like,
retired.
retired.
Devin McCourtney's still there.
but he's 54 years old.
He recorded the most tackles this week.
He did, but he also let somebody run straight past him for a score.
because
It
he's
was-
50 years
It was
old.
bad. There's nothing above average on either side of the ball, and you cannot do that. We used to, every preseason when we did our, who's got what rankings and whatever, you'd always add a few points to the Patriots because they got Bill.
Yep.
And no longer relevant. He cannot coach these younger players the way he used to coach without Tom Brady there to be the go-between. He can't do it. So the Bill countdown is on.
Yeah.
And also, if they play Brian Hoyer, they're fools. They should play Bailey Zapp, who's the number 3 quarterback. And if he's Nathan Peterman, fine. Or he could be, I don't know,
Tom Brady.
He could be Tom Brady. They're the two ends of the scale, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's unlikely that he's either one of those, but at least it'd be entertaining to find out. Brian, what is the point?
You're right. I mean,
I've just looked at the free agent quarterbacks. That's why I started laughing.
So beside Cam Newton,
So Cam Newton, number 1.
Yeah.
He's an MVP, former MVP.
former MVP,
He has
good running back.
been let go by you as well. So and then
Good reason.
it just drops off a
Plummet is
cliff.
so bad.
The neck of Michael Glennon, because he's about 50% neck now.
Yeah.
Where's Nick
Oh,
Foles?
and we keep
He's a backup somewhere.
He's at the
Colts.
Colts.
He's back with Wyke. Wyke has to have one quarterback that he knows. It keeps Garrett Gilbert.
Wow.
Number 4, Carson Strong.
Oh.
He's been let go by. He was drafted this year. He's been let go by
rookie.
2 teams already.
Because he doesn't have any knees.
And then it's like Ben DiNucci, Matt Barkley, AJ McCarron.
I mean, Matt Barkley wouldn't be terrible.
Ben DiNucci looked okay at times.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
it was no tape.
scraping the barrel. Come on.
Yeah, but what I mean is, if any of those, would you not rather just see what you've got in
Well,
Bailey
Bailey
Zapp.
well, that's just it. You know what you have with Brian Hoyer. You don't have much. Me and you argue about this all the time. Young quarterbacks need to get experience before you can find. Here's your opportunity to give them experience.
So here's the thing, right? Bailey Zapp doesn't have to be Tom Brady. What he has to be is somewhere near Mac Jones.
He needs to be Cooper Rush.
Yeah. Because the Cowboys, and we'll get onto them, but
Yeah.
they're currently proving, well, you can win with your backup.
Yes.
Well, that isn't the whole point of the Cowboys. Is they've got a really great defense that's leaving Cooper Rush in decent
Yes.
positions,
Yeah.
whereas the Patriots don't have that. And
I would take our O-line over the Cowboys O-line.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think that's as good as O-line as a young quarterback could play behind. You might as well see. He set all sorts of records in college. Now, admittedly, he was playing second-level college football, but then surrounded by second-level talent.
But then
63 touchdowns to 11 picks.
But so was Josh Allen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's worth a go. I do not see the point of playing Brian Hoyer.
And then on the other side, Lamar is having a contract year, isn't he?
He's having an MVP year.
Like if he is,
Sorry,
like the way he's throwing the ball, it looks better than he has ever thrown the ball. What he's been working on whilst he was injured last season, I don't know.
He looks a completely different passer.
Yeah,
completely different. Like now he looks like a quarterback that could win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I will happily put my hands up.
I think the Ravens are a real contender for what they've done so far this year.
Yeah.
The thing is, they're comfortably the best team in their division as well.
Which I just didn't see in the
No,
preseason.
I didn't either. No, I didn't. But they are by far.
I mean,
they've got a great head coach.
Yeah, I mean they're slowly rotating J.K. Dobbins back into it as well. And like even so, Justice Hill. Running back.
Yeah, great game, didn't he?
Yeah, good game. 6 carries for 60 yards. Can't complain.
Yeah. Their running back stable is among the best in the NFL.
Yeah.
They have a top 3 or 4 quarterback. They have a top 3 or 4 head coach. The defense is struggling, but it's got pieces, and we know it can make plays.
They'll get better as the season goes on as well.
You've got Mark Andrews who's just has
stunning
such
season.
a good.
Is he not tight end 1 so far this year?
Yeah, he is. And I think me and John were talking about this actually before you guys got here. And like with Lamar, he is just so good. Like he did okay last year, but without Lamar, it just wasn't quite the same.
No.
But now Lamar is back. You just know if they're anywhere within 30 yards, you're just looking. Where's Mark Andrews?
Yeah, exactly. Also, the wide receiver combo, Rashad Bateman and Devin Duvernay. These are names we wouldn't think of before the season really as being stars.
Duvernay's got like 4 touchdowns.
I think he's top touchdown scorer.
I think he might be.
Well, Mark Andrews must be up there.
I was going to say, watching Mark Andrews play and catch touchdowns was like watching peak Gronk.
Yeah,
he just dominated the catch rate.
Well, even when Lamar's throws aren't great.
No,
he mosses people. He gets there. And he's an absolute
monster,
fucking unit.
Yeah.
And he's brilliant. And
first F-bomb.
But no, like Lamar knows if he's stuck, he can just throw it down the middle, and he's got. Mark Andrews makes 50-50, 70-30.
Do you know what the worst bit about this game was and the Mac Jones outcome is? It's now a foot race to see whether I beat Paul in my bet that the Jets won't finish above the Patriots. Because that is now a realistic possibility. I think we are far closer to the Jets than we are the Dolphins.
I still don't think that's a possibility. But I do think now that the Dolphins, which we'll come on to, are quite clear second in that.
I think that division's split in 2.
Speaking of the Jets,
Stephon Diggs is the touchdown leader.
Is he? How many's he got?
4.
Okay.
Oh, he's the wide receiver one.
Duvernay's touchdowns were returns, not receiving.
So the Jets took on the Bengals and lost 27-12. The Bengals were 0-2 coming into this one. But, Jets fans, after their miracle comeback last week, don't worry, normal service is resumed. You've gone back to being crap. That was a one-off if there ever was one. And this is what will happen if you keep asking Joe Flacco. I think it was 52 passes.
52 times.
I mean, sweet Christ. It's 2022, not 2012.
I don't understand it, though, because you've got 2 good running backs, Breece Hall and Michael Carter.
But look at what they got. I mean, neither team had a real running game in this matchup.
If you're behind early.
Yeah.
And the Jets behind early.
Breece Hall was getting yardage. Breece Hall had an average of nearly 5 yards a carry.
He's definitely not the sort of player you would drop in a dynasty league after 2 weeks, is he?
Oh, I wouldn't be doing that. No. Did I do that?
No, Chase did it.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger concern running-wise is actually the Bengals. They were good last year when they set the ground game, and that gave Joe Burrow time to play. Yeah. And Mixon's not the same player.
Not at the races.
P. Ryan's leading the way.
He is. P. Ryan, 9 carries for 47 yards. Joe Mixon, 12 carries for 24 yards.
I mean, I could do that. 2 yards a carry, again, falling forwards.
I think a lot of that is also this offensive line is still bad. Right?
Hasn't
Burrow
Joe
is still
getting sacked all the time?
Burrow only got sacked twice in this game, which is a massive improvement from the first 2 games where he got sacked 6 times. But he was still under pressure a lot of the time. A lot of pressures on him.
As well, the Jets' defensive line is actually also pretty good. Yeah. So I think the thing with P. Ryan is every so often Giovanni Bernard would look good for the Bengals because with Mixon, you're running him up the gut, whereas P. Ryan's coming out wide and avoid it. It's so strange to say P wine. I know it's his name, but fucking hell.
Samaji Perrin.
Samaji, yeah.
Perrin?
P Ryan's better than
P wine.
Is it?
I don't know, but yeah, because he's
not
running,
even that close to
because he's
P.
running a
It's
different
not
way.
It's too close to perineum. And you don't want anything too close to your perineum, is what I'm saying.
To people like
You're
that.
so mature.
But yeah, because P wine's going out wide and
Sorry.
a different angle of attack.
Yep. Again, also a problem. But yeah, go on.
And it just hits differently.
He does. Slippery customer.
Yeah.
Okay, we can leave that game well behind, but Bengals off the snide, basically. That's the key takeaway from this game. You've got to win, you're off and running, and the chase down the Ravens begins.
Yeah, I mean, if they'd lost that, it would have been a disaster.
It would have indeed been a disaster. Right, that's
I
the
still don't think they're very good.
3 humdrum games out of the way. Let's ramp up the quality here.
It's Ravens next week.
AFC East divisional rivals, the Bills and the Dolphins, face off in Miami. And this one could go a long way to determining the seedings in the playoff race. Tua was shaken but not stirred. We'll come back to that in a minute. As he led the Finns to a 21-19 victory over Buffalo and kept Miami undefeated. We got one of sports' all-time funniest moments to boot. So let's get that out of the way. The butt punt was amazing.
Brilliant.
Backed up in their end zone. Absolutely.
Going the annals of history.
Hoofing it up your personal protector's ass for a safety. Brilliant. Absolutely spot on. The most relieved man in the world was Mark Sanchez, who couldn't tweet it fast enough, apparently. So
It's been a great weekend for some pretty shoddy quarterbacks.
it really has. It really has. I want to talk firstly about whether the Dolphins are as good as the Bills or whether just this day they were better.
This day, they were better.
I would
Yeah.
agree.
Well, I don't even know if this day they were better.
No.
I think they managed the game better. When you look at some of the numbers,
The Bills
so the Bills
ran twice as many
So
plays.
the Bills had 497 offensive yards, and the Dolphins had about 220.
212.
Oh, sorry.
I've just got it in front of me.
They had 41 minutes of possession,
Yeah.
the Bills, and the Dolphins had 19 minutes. I don't need it in front of me, right? So
How many plays do they have?
that doesn't matter.
It
It's
does
irrelevant.
matter. The
They
Bills
had
have
like 90 or something.
90 plays.
Oh, so I knew that as well.
90
Look at that.
plays to the Dolphins, 39.
How many other teams have lost, or rather, who's lost more 3-point games in the last year than the Bills?
The Lions.
No one.
No. Well, there's one team. It's the
Chargers?
Texans. The only team that have lost
Right,
more
you lot
close
going about
games.
the Lions
I was
losing by
going
a
to
score.
say,
all the time.
including playoffs, Bills are 0-7 in one-score games
Yeah.
since the start of 2021.
That's mad.
All other games, they're 14
Are you trying to suggest that Josh Allen is not clutch?
Well,
Well,
the
he's
team
not
is not
clutch.
clutch. The coach is not clutch, I think.
I couldn't keep hold of his laptop, could he?
No,
One of the
I went full Ken Dorsey as well when I was watching the Patriots. That was amazing. I really like the fact that the other guy looked up and was like, "Oh, this is on camera."
it's the hand.
It's a hand that just comes,
That was amazing.
everyone needs to see this.
Everyone needs to see this.
Oh, it's brilliant.
I think that one of the things they had a lot of injuries on the O line, so I think the tight ends were used as protection. So you didn't have a big sort of red zone target other than Stephon Diggs for the Bills.
He was cramping
Lot-
up like anything.
and
Look, to say that was one of the players had to go onto an IV.
Yeah, there was some
Well,
throwing
it
out.
was, I mean, that was the other thing. It was like something like 100.
It was about
something.
38
It was
degrees.
35 at one point
Yeah.
we saw on the thing
And
in the
like-
stadium, yeah.
Josh Allen, 90 plays in that heat, both for the Bills offense, but more impressively for the Dolphins defense to have that many plays and restrict a really good Bills team to just 17 points really, because you can't count the safety.
Always count the safety.
Josh Allen throwing it 63 times though.
Yeah, that's fine. I'd rather see that than Joe Flacco throwing it
but
52.
I mean,
there was
that
a
is fun.
fumble as well, because one of the the Dolphins only had to run one in 6 yards or something.
Yeah,
Didn't they?
I mean,
So-
Josh Allen lost a fumble, but
Back to your point, though, 63 passing attempts. This is because the Bills still don't have a run
haven't got
game.
that running game. No.
They've never had a run game. And that, if anything's going to upset them, that is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And that is where you lose close games because you cannot run out the clock. You are constantly having to throw the ball. You're
But
risking
saying that,
things.
Dolphins haven't got a run game either.
Chase Edmonds got a touchdown from 6 yards.
That's their first rushing touchdown this year.
It is. More to the point, was Tua in this game illegally?
Yes.
Because
They're claiming
Bad
not.
back. Hobbled off with a bad back.
No.
how many people's bad back makes them pass out and black out on the field?
Yeah,
It's a pains bad,
He
isn't it?
stood back up and then fell over.
Yeah. in a really wobbly,
very
baby
wobbly
fold type of way.
concussion
Threw a lovely
style
pass
way.
to Waddle afterwards.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, that was fine.
John thought he was aiming at about
4
10
Waddles.
different
Yeah.
players.
I thought Tua had a good game. Like he's having
John
a good
said he's
season.
seeing 5 wide on both sides of the line. So what's going on here?
Yeah.
You
Madness.
can.
It was definitely
You
concussed.
can go back
been
and
proven.
you'll be fine.
Yeah, it's
you
been
can be
proven.
fine as soon as because you've got adrenaline going through you.
Yeah.
Who knows what happens in the locker room as well. But
Is that back to Pete, right?
the only reason Tua was out.
I'm guessing he's just suggested smelling salts or something.
Yeah. But the concussion protocol is they go into the locker room and they go,
Are you okay?
"You're important," and he goes, "Yes." He goes back out.
No, that's a bit up. There is an individual adjudicator in terms of a doctor who's not affiliated to the team
But-
is there as well.
But what they're saying
under
is
pressure.
the Dolphins never submitted him for the concussion test because they said he got a bad back.
Back.
He never went into the tent.
Well,
he
that's
went
just-
into the locker room.
That's just wrong, then, isn't it?
And this is the point. He wasn't treated as most players should be treated. And it's not like he's Tom Brady. He's Tua. So nobody should be taking exception here. It's Tua.
Yeah.
As well, if it has a bad back, I remember him last season having to play with a fucking flak jacket.
Yeah.
And just take care of the fucking quarterbacks.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to go into it again, but we did it all last
I'll
season.
tell you what you've seen over the last 2 weeks, though, is like the difference between, you look at Mahomes and, think he's going to be the top talent for the next however many years. And you see Tyreek move and you go, well, actually, this too is pretty good. And you forget, you focus in about quarterbacks so much. And we talk about situations all the time, don't we? Whether it's Trevor Lawrence, whether it's Wilson, whether it's Fields, and it's the difference that if you're in a good
Where they
system
are, yeah.
and players, excellent players around them, it's so many pieces, and I think it's really interesting to see. To a lot of people around this table were quite down on Tua last year, and I was always a believer that he could play. And you put some great pieces. Now Tyreek now takes all of the coverage away from Waddle. Waddle looks like a great player again as well.
At this rate, they'll be the best 1-2 receivers in the league because they are attracting that much attention and targets.
We'll say this: like the Bills' defense. I know Waddle got 100 yards, but they kept Tyreek Hill quiet. They kept most of the defense quiet, especially in the passing game. They are without Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, Tre'Davious White is still. I think they had 3 rookies in their backfield.
It was a 49ers backfield.
Yeah, and
absolutely
Ed Oliver
believe
was injured as well.
The Bills are the best team in this division.
I think you'll see like loads of power rankings come out, but I don't think the Bills move from number 1.
Do you know what it made me think? It made me look back and think all those years the Patriots were the best team in this division. They still
lost
lost
in Miami.
every season
Yeah.
in Miami. Every year.
Strange things happen in Miami. And look, it's an in-division game against you're away against one of your rivals in really stupendously difficult conditions to play with, and you've lost by 2 points.
Yeah.
Well, but the Dolphins now have won 2 divisional games already, which could really
It is
be
massive.
important.
Absolutely.
See what happens when the Dolphins
They
go
are
to Buffalo.
the only undefeated team in the AFC.
That's correct.
Let's talk about another team that is also undefeated. The Eagles. John's Super Bowl pick scalped the Commanders 24-8 and left Carson Wentz in disarray with a ridiculous second quarter performance. I think they scored all 24 of their points in the second quarter.
Can we go back just to calling them the football team?
If you like.
I hate the Commanders.
What were we going with the Red Hogs?
I was making a
Pandas.
reference to their even
Red
older
Pandas.
name that we're
Red
not
Hogs.
Red Pandas.
Hogs would have been better,
Yeah,
actually.
the Hogs, yeah.
Devonta Smith
I
was
just hate the
massive.
It's not the name. I just hate the fucking
I
Commanders.
think Smith's not massive.
No, but
He's
he
just
was
a very good
in
player.
this game. More to the point, though, that's Jalen Hurts kid can throw.
He's,
He
again...
is 5th best QBR in the league at the moment.
Yeah, I'll happily concede that he has improved his throwing skills.
Helps when you've got AJ Brown to throw.
It
to
does.
as well.
It does
really
help
does.
when you've got 2 really good receivers. But no, hats off. He, like Lamar Jackson, has improved in the offseason when it comes to passing.
Now, I don't have my statistics in front of me, and I can't reel them off like Gary did earlier. But at one point, I believe the Eagles had 324 yards,
Yes.
and the Commanders had -1.
Yeah, I remember seeing that on the screen.
And you're like, I think this is not going well. Carson Wentz was sacked how many times? 9 times?
9 times, yeah.
And the team should just sack him. Full stop.
He should be
just,
sacked.
by his own team.
Wow.
Do we think the Eagles are going to be this year's Bengals?
It's looking very like it. And I would say someone at this table did sort of point this out.
Yeah.
They really were going the right
And,
way.
well, the thing is, they have depth. You want about the Bills. When they have players go down injured, they have to, the Eagles have 2 lines on both sides.
Yeah.
They are stacked.
They don't have a great running
They don't have
star, but they've got 3 average.
Do it by
running backs.
committee. It's fine.
What did you call him? Kenneth Gain, okay?
Gain all right.
Gain, all right. Kenneth Gain, all right.
And, he's fine. Miles
Boston's
Sanders.
got a few yards.
Boston's got a few yards, yeah. Miles saunters in for a touchdown.
Exactly.
There you go. We've named them all. We're very happy and pleased with ourselves.
But
this team, they look really good. They look really solid. They're in what is one of the easier divisions as well. Like, you'd take the Eagles all day against the Cowboys right now, and you'd take them all day against the Giants right
even with
now. Even with Dak.
Yeah, you're taking the
His
Eagles.
pass rush is too ferocious for that terrible Cowboys O-line. So,
yards per throw, it's Jalen Hurts leading the league.
Yeah.
really,
Carson Wentz didn't have a terrible game. He just got absolutely destroyed.
he never got more than a second to look up. Not at any point did he get time. But overall, the Commanders were just bad.
Yeah.
Just
well, we knew
really
that was
bad.
I did see a great stat that Wentz has been sacked 8 times in his career, and that was by the Commanders when he was playing for the Eagles. It's just a matchup he hates.
Yeah,
No matter what side he's on, but they were just awful. They couldn't run. Antonio Gibson was until garbage time
negligible.
Yeah,
He's got a fantasy touchdown.
They're waiting for the other guy to come back that got shot. He was doing pre-game warm-ups.
Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
He was in the pre-game warm-ups. If I was shot in both legs, I'd have had to have retired.
He's not allowed back until week 5, is he?
That's not that far away now.
No.
Yeah, that's not that far away now. That will improve the team, I've no doubt, but they're not
I don't think
going
so.
anywhere.
I don't think it will.
Can he play O-line?
Yeah.
I think it will, because I think he's more explosive. So if he comes back and he's the player they think they've drafted, I think he's got more going for him than Gibson.
Yeah, probably, but
I like Gibson. I think he's fine.
I think Gibson's fine as well. I don't think a running back makes his team that much better.
Not enough better.
No.
Are they the worst team in the NFC East?
Yes.
At this moment.
At this moment. I think so as well.
The Giants can easily regress.
Is Riverboat Ron
They
in
can.
trouble?
I don't think Riverboat Ron is in trouble. Because
I asked this before the season and you all said no way.
Because the organisation is so toxic. It's the
dire.
only thing keeping it stable.
Also-
yes, I do think the Giants, if they lose Saquon, could
Would
be
be
very quickly be back with the Commanders.
Yeah, all right.
Riverboat One isn't going to fire himself.
We'll get on to the Giants then. So 2 other NFC East teams clashed on Monday Night Football, with the Cowboys travelling to New Jersey to take on the 2-0 Giants. CeeDee Lamb stepped up after a bad drop and took the game away from the G-men with a one-handed catch, as Daniel Jones was left running for his life, pressured on 24 dropbacks.
Yeah.
That is nuts. Like, they gave him no time. It wasn't on Daniel Jones at all. Like, he was doing what he could.
Daniel Jones had a really good game.
Yeah. He's actually played well
all
this
things
season.
considered.
I mean, pressured on 24
Yeah.
snap things, and
Some of his running was actually decent.
he
Some of the times it was planned runs as well.
Yeah.
And he did look good.
I'd be really nervous as a Giants fan if Daniel Jones continues to have an average season.
Yeah, because you'll sign him up.
Yes.
Yeah. I would.
Yeah.
I would be really, unless you are tracking towards the playoffs and you just go, right, okay, let's give him a couple of years. But if you're not, but he's done enough over the season to get another deal, I'd be a little bit worried that might stymie your growth.
I think that's a fair point. Also, like Jim says, once Saquon goes down, what did he get, 80 yards?
Gary said it.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, he got 80
Don't want to keep agreeing with me, do you?
No, not really.
He had,
But 80 yards.
Or 14 carries.
I think he looks really good.
Oh,
I think
he looks
Absolutely.
He
He really
looks-
does. But
yeah.
for how many weeks?
And that is the difference with the Giants.
Yeah, but you
right
can
now.
say that about every running back.
I
Because,
know.
Yeah.
But it's fair to say about Saquon because it's every year.
But it's
I'm
his
gonna
fifth
get on to
year.
McCaffrey,
It's
don't
his
worry.
5th year. He's been injured for the last 2, but the 2 before he
looks
was really strong.
like-
It's
when you think of like Zeke and now Saquon at the moment, you could say Saquon is so much more dynamic.
Explosive.
Yeah,
He's,
absolutely.
he's really looking good.
yeah, he is. He's brilliant. But yeah, I'd like it. The O-line for a couple of games has been pretty sturdy, and it just wasn't. But the Cowboys' defense is going to keep this team in games.
Only 3 quarterbacks have won their first 3 ever starts for the Cowboys. Cooper Rush is one of them. Who are the other 2?
No, Dak would
Romo?
have lost his job.
Aikman?
No.
Let's give you something stupid.
There's one not stupid one.
Starbuck.
Roger Staubach.
Dalton.
No. And one that you'll go,
Andy
fucking
Dalton
really?
played for the Cowboys.
He did?
I don't think he played 3 games for them though. Didn't he?
Bledsoe.
No. Wow, this is a feature.
You need Paul.
Let me fetch the shotgun and put you out of your misery.
Yeah.
It's Jason Garrett. There you go.
Yeah,
So
we would have been there sometime.
you really would. That's my little stat I found for the week. I thought you didn't enjoy that one. CeeDee Lamb, this was I'm the number one receiver game, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, it was dominant. And he needs to be because they're going to need him. But
Peyton Hendershot had a great game.
Gallup must be back soon.
Peyton Hendershot.
Who? Gallup. Where's Gallup due back?
He's due. He was. They were saying he was due back for this game. I don't know if he did
He must be
play
Must
much.
be due back soon, Michael Gallup.
Peyton Hendershot.
Hendershot, yeah. Three receptions for 43 yards.
Is that a regeneration name on like Madden or something? Never heard of him. Okay.
I did pick
what happened
up-
to Noah Brown this week?
Yeah, good. Peyton Hendershot, by the way, is a rookie tight end. Noah Brown was the second best receiver, 5 catches, 54 yards off 7 targets.
That's the one I'm tracking.
Yeah.
He's the talent. All right. From the undefeated to the very defeated now, and the Raiders are the NFL's only 0-3 team after a humbling 22-24 loss against the Titans.
Before that coming.
Tannehill and Henry were efficient rather than spectacular, but that's all they needed to be as the Tetons recover a late onside kick to seal the win. Raiders' 3 losses are by a combined 13 points, which is unlucky in some ways, but McDaniels looks in trouble here. He just doesn't seem to know how to close out games.
Yeah, win the game.
And Gary made a point earlier, and then you're going to tell me it wasn't him, it was someone else. But
Gary's making all the points today.
You were saying earlier how Tua has improved because they put Tyreek in there. Well, the best wide receiver has gone to the Raiders, and they've got worse. So how was that?
Derek Carr has thrown something like 7 touchdowns in a row to Devontae Adams in games they've played, including their college career now. So he's thrown a touchdown to him every single game since he's arrived. So I don't think Devontae Adams has made the team worse.
I'm not saying he's made it worse.
Hunter Renfro's injured.
He hasn't made the team
Isn't he?
better.
So Hunter Renfro's injured.
Yes.
So I think the run game's a problem here. Josh Jacobs hasn't been dynamic at all. And I don't think the Raiders' defense has been that great. It's been okay.
Raiders' defense has been bad for years.
Yeah.
This is a perfect match for Henry because the Raiders' defense is soft in the middle. And
Derek Carr threw a couple of terrible, threw an awful interception.
And Derek Henry's specialty is just running through very average interior defensive lines.
Rarely, for once, Derek Henry did it early.
Yeah.
So he didn't do it in the second half of the game. He actually unloaded early.
I think he needed that as well because he's had a.
If you're going to unload,
do
it early through the middle.
To the season.
Up the gut.
Power running.
Power running. Yeah.
Power straight through.
Yeah.
Dontrell Hillard actually had a good
left his
run
mark.
in this game. He did indeed leave his mark. Thank you for throwing me off completely there. So I think that combination's working well. When they need to spell Henry, Hillard's actually played okay as well, which is something they need. You cannot keep using Henry the way they have done the last 2 or 3 years. It's just not going to work. It's not sustainable. I don't know where the Raiders go from here. I mean, I know they're only like a couple. Well, they're not that far back in the division. The Chiefs are only 2-1.
It's the start of the season.
Yeah, I was going to say, but like
No one's that far back.
But the thing is, I thought that
It's a bit like us in our fantasy league. So you've still got a chance, bro.
It's a huge game this week for them because they play the Broncos, and if they lose that, they are 3 games behind the Broncos. They'll probably be 2 games behind the Chargers, and the Chiefs. I don't know who the Chiefs have got this week, but
they'll be favourite whoever they're playing.
Oh, the Bucks. So they probably will.
Tight. Yeah.
Oh, they'll win that.
They'll win that.
They'll win that. We'll get on to the Bucks.
But they could be 3 games behind and the teams that matter because we'll get into the Chargers.
I mean, McDaniel's coaching record is just going down the pan here. Like he was already
great.
Wait, is this going to keep Bill in his job because McDaniel's will be back next year?
That's the plan, you see.
The only way I would let Bill keep his job is if he gets McDaniel's back. But I don't think it does. But I think the Raiders have signed up for him. I don't think they're going to bin him off.
No.
But I don't see the.
Give him a couple of years at least.
Have you though? Because it's not. He's like he's a first-time head coach. He was very bad. He was very bad
2 years
with the Broncos. He was very bad.
They wanted a big name, a new direction. I think you give him 2 years.
So do I. But if they finish, I don't know, 6-11.
Is he that bad of an owner?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
He
If they
is.
finish 6-11, is he keeping his job?
He
Yes.
is. But if you
I
think
think he is.
he-
I don't think he is.
and I get Gruden might have been the wrong person, but he did give over a lot of time and control to Gruden. Gruden got it wrong.
A lot.
And
Actually, no.
but he did give him a time. He gave him a long contract.
I think Gruden's different because I think there's that previous relationship. between Gruden and
Don't
the
forget,
franchise.
Gruden didn't get sacked for that either.
Yeah.
He got sacked for being a be all
My
racist.
point is,
but I also
though,
think-
that, surely
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
going to give him time.
Well, I think the Raiders are. This is going to seem weird, but they are rebuilding. And I know they've got Carr, they've got Devontae Adams, they've got Darren, they've got a lot of good pieces. But you look at what they had to do to get rid of all those really shitty draft picks that Gruden and Mike Mayock made. Like there's 5, 6, 7 former first round picks which they've had to get rid of. That's a dearth of talent. And even if only 50% of your first round picks here, that's still 3 to 4 good players
and they're
which
normally
aren't there.
defensive players
Yeah,
as well.
and a lot of those were defensive players,
And even some of the good players
one of
they
them was-
had, like Cole Nassib,
Yeah.
he's now playing. He's at the Bucks.
He's at the Bucks. Yeah, like
They've just made bad decisions on defense.
they have made a lot of bad decisions. Cleveland Farrell is one of the few first round picks they've kept, and he is distinctly average and shouldn't have been picked with a 4.
He's a good
pick.
team player.
Yeah.
That is why he's there, because he's not disruptive.
The problem with the Raiders team has been the interior of the defense has been shocking for about 4 years. They've never had a good nose tackle. They've never had good linebackers. Their safeties are distinctly average.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Rich Bisaccia laughing at home.
Yeah, exactly.
In Green
Rich
Bay.
Bisaccia.
Yeah, I mean, you said it last year, Griff. They should have kept him because at least he got some team spirit together.
He absolutely did. Right. Like the Raiders, the Falcons entered week 3 without a win, but riding the coattails of Cordero Patterson, they put away the undermanned and under-talented Seahawks 27-23. Seahawks simply lack the punch to win in these close fights.
Yes.
I mean, there wasn't a lot you could take from this game other than Patterson
The
dominating.
Seahawks lack the punch to win.
Yeah, but it was, what did he get, 130 odd yards?
Yeah.
Cordero Patterson?
And Mariota is proving to be not quite as bad as I thought. And
Fuck me. I never thought it.
I mean,
to the point
to be
that
fair,
I've
I
actually
changed my tune on Jalen Hurts, and you're changing your tune on
I've
Mariota.
actually
It took 5 years.
due to the Trey Lance injury, I may have taken Mariota in 2 of my fantasy teams because he's a very good running quarterback.
If
And,
you,
he's been
you say
better.
that though, he had absolutely naffle rushing yards this week. 4 carries for about 1 yard,
No, you got the wrong way around.
sorry.
7 carries for 4 yards.
right? And his passing, he was only in the hundreds yards.
100. No, 229.
Oh well, there you go. But nothing. He's not setting the world alight. But
No, it's not.
He's not as bad as I thought. I didn't
what
say
he
he was
avoided,
good.
what he avoided this week was the end of game killer fumble, like he had the first 2 weeks where he got taken out trying to win the game. But he's looked good enough to be in the league. That's the point.
He's got a coach who knows him.
Yep.
And that he's got Pitts and
say,
Olamide
How
Zacchaeus to
many
throw at.
targets did Carl Pitts get this week?
8. There are
That's more
some
sensible.
fun pieces on this Falcon team. All right, Mariota, he may not be the best, but he's fun to watch. Patterson, fun to watch. Pitts, Drake London, the rookie wide receiver.
He looks good.
They both look good. Like, there's some decent players on that offense.
Yeah,
I
there
mean,
are.
they've got nothing on defense.
No, I believe John's getting called up next week.
Yeah.
I think he'll be there at linebacker.
Someone will need to give him a pep talk first about how to play defense.
Yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed games where the players are fun, and like you say, Mariota, Patterson, Pitts, and London, they are fun, and that's why this is why I always backed Fitzmagic, because he wasn't very good, but my word, it was fun, and I was hoping for the same from Gino, but it's just boring.
No.
What's he averaging per pass? 4 yards or something? It's like
Stupid like that. I mean, 7.4, actually.
DK Metcalf touchdown was nice.
That was good. I mean, it was good for Metcalf.
Yeah, I was going
Yeah.
to say it was an overthrown ball.
yeah, absolutely was, but. Pete Carroll seems to want to play this conservative fashion. The problem is, I don't think they have the.
Do you think
the
it's just he's
manpower
worried
on-
about his heart if he gets too
Maybe.
exciting?
They don't have the manpower on defense to play these sorts of games.
I mean, they've got a similar defense to the Falcons. It's just a bunch of people.
Perhaps you'll get called up for them instead.
Yeah.
All right.
You look good in lime green.
I'm glad we got that little stinker of a game.
I'd rather be Atlanta. They got better kit.
Got that one out of the way. We'll take it to the break, and we'll come back with a far more exciting set of games in the second half. You'd be forgiven for assuming that a September Mahomes-led Chiefs would cruise to a 3-0 start, especially against a lackluster Colts team that came in at 0-1-1. Of course, in this league, you'd be wrong. Matt Ryan showed us why he's the anti-Wentz and drove the Colts down the field late, throwing a second touchdown of the day to the unheralded on this podcast, Jelani Woods. Chiefs 17, Colts 20.
Jelani Woods isn't unheralded.
Well,
this podcast.
Paul's not here, so that's why I thought I'd throw that in.
He hasn't sent a message, but he did ring us beforehand to say he was just so pleased. Because we forgot to mention as well, it was in a period where also Jeff Swaim got a touchdown for the Titans.
He did indeed. Well, it was a Paul wet dream, frankly. It's probably why he's not here.
That's exactly.
Still too excited.
Yeah, he's trying to think of ways he could put Swaim in memes.
What was the one he sent?
EA Sports is in the Swaim.
Very good. That was very good. I mean, look, I didn't see this coming. I don't know what happened to the Chiefs' offense in this game, but they couldn't get anything going. It was a real struggle.
Well, they were just arguing with each other, weren't they?
Mahomes and Bieniemy at halftime, Mahomes basically wanted to go for getting in field goal range, and Bieniemy wanted to run out the clock. Yeah. As it turns out, if they'd have got a field goal, that ties the game. Yeah. But it wasn't a good look.
You don't know what you don't know what would have happened.
No, of course not.
Definitely, I think there's some bits to work out. The connection doesn't seem quite there. Juju, didn't quite always go where Mahomes was expecting him to go. And clearly there's been a lot of change on that offense, hasn't there? Mm-hmm. Really, and I'm sure they'll get it right, and they've done okay so far this season.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire was back to form with 7 carries for no yards.
Yeah, Mahomes the best rusher.
And again, they're another team like the Bills.
Did he get a receiving touchdown though?
He did get a rushing touchdown.
Rushing touchdown.
His longest rush was 4 yards.
But this is the point. They're another team that have never established a run game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire contributes most weeks, but it's not an established running game.
You're right.
And that's fine if you've got Patrick Mahomes most of the time, like it's fine with Josh Allen. But then there'll be games like this.
It's the game where Patrick Mahomes isn't uber amazing, and the defense on the other side just does just enough, and their offense on the other team does just enough to squeak by a team and record an unlikely win. But there you go.
See, interestingly, Matt Ryan seems absolutely perfectly fine, doesn't he, if he's got time?
Of course.
But if you make him move at all now, that's the problem
and
with Matt Ryan.
The Colts O-line hasn't been playing well.
They're the most expensive O-line in football, and they're shit.
If
they are shit.
If they can keep in time.
Bad, there's pieces there where they shouldn't be as shit as they are. You can see that, you can imagine them improving through the year, whereas the Bengals O-line, you can imagine them just getting worse.
But Matt Ryan is less mobile than Brady.
Yes. He has been. He's about as mobile as Joe Flacco.
Yeah, it's Joe Flacco-esque. It actually reminds me quite a lot of Philip Rivers when he was at the Colts a couple of years ago. It's a very similar setup. And it's almost like they've gone, right, the Wentz experiment didn't work. Let's find a quarterback for a year or two that we know can play quarterback, and we'll put the things around him. And for the first couple of weeks, it didn't really work.
It did help having his top 2 receivers back this week.
Of course. That's what I mean. Put the pieces around.
Exactly, so having Michael Pittman back and Alex Pierce. Pittman had a good game. 8 receptions off 9 targets.
Bear in mind as well, he was still sacked 5 times for a loss of 45 yards. That's not good. Matt Ryan, I think, has really shown, okay, I'm just going to step up where I can here and help out. I think he is aggrieved that the team isn't as good as he thought it was going to be.
Who's one of the best kick returners in the league? It's Mecole Hardman.
Yeah.
Sky Moore is not one of the best kick returners in the league.
He
had a mare.
He had a muff the first one.
And then he let one go that got downed on the 1 yard line. It's
bad. It was bad. I don't know why they're taking Hardman off that rotation.
I guess because they want to use him in the passing game. And Sky Moore's a rookie. Use him like you've used Hardman and Hill before. Get them in, but
work them into the rotation, basically.
Yeah, but he looked an absolute shell.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Bless him. But I don't mind Juju. 5 receptions, 89 yards. One big one, really big play, but he's fine. It's
just fine though. That's the thing. It's not good.
When Kelsey doesn't have a big game, they don't move the ball enough.
No, it's true. Jonathan Taylor, again, not a big game, 3.4 yards a carry. It's fine, but they need that run game working. And again, it's down to the O-line.
Yeah, it's the O-line again.
And it's a problem. Much like the Titans are only any good if Derrick Henry is good. The Colts will only be any good if Jonathan Taylor is any good.
That is the big difference, I think, this year. And their defense isn't as good because it's not off the pitch as long.
Yes.
Because the run game isn't working.
Yeah.
And it's not even, like, he went for like nearly 2,000 or over 2,000 yards last year.
Not quite 2,000.
Not quite, yeah. I think
it was around that, though, so it was right up there. That's
never got that state in your head.
Not that one. That's in the past, Jim. It's in the past. But that is a big difference to how that team
1,811 yards.
There's wonderful symmetry about being 1-1-1.
Yes.
Nelson.
If I made you place your money today, do the Colts finish with more than 9 wins?
No.
No, I don't like what I've seen so far.
No.
This is an anomaly. They got lucky that a lot of things fell their way. I don't think they're very good, which is a shame because I like Matt Ryan.
So in that case, they'll be under 500.
So
Frank Reich out of a job?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
He's had enough
He's had what?
leeway.
For 4 years?
As Paul will tell you, it's at least the third Reich, if not the fourth Reich.
I think Paul's used that pun at
Every
least
other week,
3
yeah.
years.
I'm so glad he has. Okay, moving on from this upset, let's talk about another one. A huge game for Trevor Lawrence and the Jags, overpowering the Chargers 38-10. They may not have been the biggest surprise of the game. The Jags, though, dominating the run game. The Chargers don't have a run game.
Never did.
And this one was over by the sort of middle of the third quarter.
Eckler's not a run threat. He's a pass.
One question is key, though.
I think Jim needs to have a quick argument about Eckler, because Eckler had an amazing season last year.
He's a pass-catching back.
Yeah.
Rather
He is,
than
but
a-
last year he also emerged as a run back.
He had half a dozen
Gordon
really good
had
games.
gone.
He had half a dozen really good games as a running back. But
He was one of the top running backs last year.
He was.
Didn't
He's
have
good.
1,000 yards. He had 911 yards.
Kept running and then, and
rushing
then
yards.
receiving.
Yeah. Receiving yard. He had
1,300, something like that.
647.
Oh, no, nowhere near as many as I thought.
Well, this game, it was quite easy to bottle up your runners because you sort of.
He knew what was happening in this
Yeah.
game. So this
and
is my
Rashawn
key
Slater
question.
got injured, didn't he, as well? That's
Sean
huge.
Slater.
Rashawn Slater's out
You
for the
could-
season.
Yeah, that is
Huge.
massive.
Torn tricep, out for
Yeah.
the season. That's done. But more to the point, why was Herbert still in the game when the game was over?
It's the worst. I hate this because he came out afterwards and says, well, he wants to be there. He wanted to be for his teammates. That's valiant. I applaud it. Great for the player. Stupid for the coach. You're the head coach.
make
Your
the decisions.
season rests on Justin Herbert. He's not 100%. You've lost the game. I'm sorry. Pull him out. Pull rank. Like, that's what you got to do.
Rank him off.
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
Yank him off.
That's what you've got to do.
Yeah.
He wasn't he a Russian Prime Minister? Thank you very much. I'm here all week. Trevor Lawrence, though, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no sacks. This was the first time he's had this game. It's never been done
He's
before.
building good performance. It's stacking games. Though.
John, do you remember this time last year?
Lost Joey Bosa, though, didn't they, the Chargers?
Oh, they did.
They did, yeah.
Really early. Like,
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. Bosa's
First-
now week to
first
week with a
quarter.
groin injury. And like I say, Slater's gone.
Kenneth Murray, the linebacker,
Yeah,
was injured as
They've
well.
got thin at cornerback. They are the most injured team again. We're only at week 3. This is the same story every year for the Chargers. It's another team. If I said to you right now, do they win 9 games? You will say
No.
no.
I think they've lost. They lost 5 Pro Bowlers. Weren't
Yeah.
playing. 5 former Pro Bowlers in the team that weren't playing in this game. Well, for the whole of the game at least.
So, John, this time last year, we were saying, wow, Trevor Lawrence will be all right with a decent coach. And now he has a Super Bowl winning coach. And he's now creeping towards being in the middle of the pack for quarterbacks. And that doesn't sound amazing, but he was number 32 last year in a lot of the games. So he's now
And their run game's going to be good. Robinson and
run game.
Etienne.
100 yards on the nose for Robinson, 5.9 average. And then Etienne, 13
It's
carries.
Etienne, isn't it?
Sorry,
Etienne.
Etienne, 13 for 45 yards. But yeah,
Here's another Paul favourite. Zay Jones had a good game as well. 10 receptions off 11 targets.
this is where Paul needed clean up on aisle 1. He was just getting so excited.
he is so angry being at home.
really is as well.
He could be making all the rolling around on the floor with your bleeding brother jokes. But
Yeah.
Again,
And
it's-
we had
it's-
pizza just to rub it in his face.
If CJ Anderson was playing, then Jesus.
in all fairness,
And ham.
Did Ham get a touchdown for the Vikings this week?
no, it was KJ Osborne, wasn't it? Yeah. So Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, and Marvin Jones all caught touchdowns as well, which doesn't sound like a great wide receiver room, but it's what they've got, and it's working.
They've got a good quarterback.
Yes.
Like, I mean, we joked about it, like generational talent coming out of college, and didn't show it. That wasn't on him.
No.
It's on Urban Meyer being absolute.
And they've added to
shit.
I know, like, Cam Robinson, they've kept in, they brought in Scherf. It's an all-white line.
Yeah.
The defensive line is brilliant.
defense is actually
Like-
the whole defense is looking decent.
Like, Walker, I don't think we've ever had a number 1 pick go so under the radar. Like, we've not mentioned him since the draft. Like,
Only because Aiden Hutchinson's been all over Hard Knocks, and he's been good to start the season.
but he is like, he's so fast for a man that size. It's impressive. But yeah, no, without a left tackle to protect, the Chargers, it was like they were going to be in such good And as well, you look at it, the throw from Herbert to Guyton, like 60 yards.
Guyton's another one who's out for the season, by the way.
Yeah, beautiful throw, but you're like...
Justin Herbert wasn't doing as many of those.
No.
Compared to his usual game. He looked injured. He didn't look like the Justin Herbert we've known and loved. And that's another and you let him throw 45 times. I know you're chasing a game, but man, it's just bad.
Doesn't help that
It's
Keenan
bad
Allen missed the
coaching.
game, and he could be back this week. But I think it's over for the Chargers already.
I
We're in week
I don't
3.
think it's over, but...
I do.
I know
But-
it's really down, but it's only the fact that the division hasn't run away with itself.
I think it's over for the Chargers this year. I think it's over for Brandon Staley. I don't think he's done enough.
No, I don't think he's done
For a
enough.
guy who's like so anal about stats and, he's all about the analytics, like, it just seems absolutely bizarre that you just keep the guy out there. Like, if he loses his job at the end of the year, he can look back at this game and go, "Oh, do you know what? I fucking deserved that, actually, because this is boneheaded, and we said it last year with Baker.
Yeah.
Why are you playing Baker? Because it's costing you your chance in the playoffs.
The only thing that keeps him his job is if Herbert plays over and above.
I'm not sure you're going to see Herbert play all the games this season.
No, I agree, and I don't think he can.
Who's the backup?
Chase Daniel.
Chase Daniel. We had this conversation. Yeah, you're right.
I know we joked about it last year. I'm just coming back from a broken rib. Fucking hurts.
Yeah, absolutely.
It hurts to breathe. Like how he's throwing it is magnificent. Again, I applaud him, and I applaud him for staying out there. But
Big win for the Jags.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Big win for the
Huge win
Jags.
for the Jags.
Yes, really good.
I had them down for, I said a minimum of 7 wins this season. I really think they're going to do it.
I completely agree.
I think they're getting the playoffs.
What a difference!
I've always been a big fan of a misnomer for a player. Now, in the world of soccer, we had Crew Alexandra's player, Danny Invincible, who never played for a winning team. The lead tackler for the Chargers, Drew Tranquil, with 10 solo tackles this week. That is a misnomer if there ever was one.
There used to be an Italian defender called, I think it was Danny Innocent, who kept getting sent off. Absolute hard mental
Do you know
case.
who was a really well-named soccer player? Danny Shittu. Rubbish.
Yes.
Right, some football throws us a matchup of greats, and we assume it's going to light up the red zone. And sometimes football determines that defences will show up bigger and better and spoil all of our fun. So, Brady Rodgers, 2 GOATs, Bucks versus Packers. Green Bay win 14-12 on the road, as the teams are now level in the NFC at 2-1. Brady had a chance to win it late, as he often does, but it didn't happen this time, missing Gronk.
This whole goat versus goat
yeah.
thing really pissed me
Goat on goat action.
When I become commissioner, I'm just banning the use of it because it's used so much.
I love it's the when I become.
When I become
When?
commissioner.
You got to dream big, guys.
You do.
And the
That's
first part of my reign of tyranny is I'm so sick of the goat shit, which is obviously
goat shit.
There
Which
was
of-
some on
we
the
got
pitch.
so-
They had them on the pitch.
But if you got goat versus goat, well, how?
Well, the goat shat the bed because the last play of the game, the last chance to win it.
Yeah.
Delay a game on the two.
The delay of game, and
No timeout.
Brady turned to the coaching staff and said, "Why didn't you call a timeout?"
I
He didn't have one. And do you not remember a couple of years ago, he looked up from underneath centre and just held up 4 fingers and was like, well, maybe senility is sitting in at last for Brady. Look, the defences were on top throughout this game.
It must be he must be knackered, sleeping on the couch.
I think he might have spare bedrooms. Like, he's not like us. Like, Giselle's kicked me out. The kids are in the other 3 rooms.
No, he's in-
Where
he's
the
in-
fuck am I going to go?
I reckon he's in a studio
bedroom
flat.
6, 7, 8. Shall I take the cottage in the garden?
Let me tell him the sofa at my workplace, very comfortable.
But yeah, no. It's just. Do you know what? Whatever you want to say about him, this is going to be a really sad way for him to go out. He should have gone.
He's regretting coming back every week.
course he
It's feeling like a Drew Brees-esque final year, isn't it? Like he's not the Brady we know.
No, I don't think
He
so.
should, if he's going to go, he should announce it.
I mean, on the flip side, to be fair to him, no Mike Evans, no Julio Jones, no Chris Godwin, no starting left tackle, no starting centre, and Leonard Fournette, a running back who doesn't appear normally until the
He
playoffs.
caught like seven catches this
But
week.
it's the run game that was the problem.
Run
12
game.
carries, 35
Missing
yards.
Rojo.
Rojo.
Who's so shit.
Like, I mean, that he's gone through his career throwing to bang average wide receivers. He's now got Russell Gage.
Did all right.
Perriman.
Did all
Russell Gage had a costly fumble though.
For sure, Perriman, Cole Beasley, Carl Rudolph. I mean, these are all players that 5 years ago were twos
In Griff's
or
fantasy
threes.
team.
Yeah.
They're still in my fantasy team. This is the problem. Scotty Miller.
I had Russell Gage on my bench this week. He got about 23 points.
Yeah,
You could have borrowed him.
he did fine, but the rest of them are like, these aren't players that you start the game with, really. Not if you're a Super Bowl contending team.
Cole Beasley will always give you a shot.
Yeah, they drafted him in.
Yep.
It's a COVID joke.
It was very good.
Just shame he doesn't play for the Green for the Packers because both
Beasley and
Rodgers just be
Packers'
lovely.
offense should be worrying them though because it is not firing at all this season.
So I didn't finish looking this up earlier, but it's, I believe, the fewest touchdowns Brady's thrown through the first 3 games of the season in 10 years since his injury.
Yeah, I can believe it.
So he's thrown 3 and 1 interception. His QBR over 3 games is only 47.5.
Yeah.
Like, he's struggling. Now, we know, like you said, they've got pieces missing, but he's definitely, I believe, made a mistake in coming back.
Yes.
And he just wants to see the season out. He got sacked 3 times. He looks old now when he gets sacked. He doesn't look old the rest of the time. You know, he's still really good. But when he gets hit now, he stays hit. Like, but you can see that is not good. And it's only a matter of time before it's over. And we've seen it over the last few years with, like I say, Roethlisberger, Breeze, Phillip Rivers, Eli.
Peyton.
Watched Eli for like 7 years do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Peyton. And Brady eventually was going to go the same way because he wouldn't go out on top.
Yeah. The sad thing is, Peyton went out in the Super Bowl and everyone knew it was his last game.
Mm-hmm.
Eli, whatever. One I feel for is Breeze because he went out to an empty stadium.
That's always been a bugbear.
It's harsh, but
I think maybe Brady was hoping the team around him would be good enough to get him one more chance, but it's not.
No.
And this is a
All
problem.
the injuries and suspensions.
I feel a bit for Todd Bowles because I think he's going to cop it if they don't perform this season. I mean, I don't think he's getting sacked or anything, but I think they'll say, Todd Bowles. But it's not on him. The defence is playing well. It's the offense is just not got enough pieces this season.
If you look at the throwing stats, like in altogether, you've got Brady, 28th best quarterback, Rodgers 27th, Wilson 25th, and Geno Smith 26th. So some of the goats all together.
Changing of the guard.
Can we just stop using that word for Aaron
Hang on,
Rodgers?
did you also refer to Geno Smith as
I
some
did.
of the goats?
I did.
Does it not annoy you though? Goat versus goat, right? When Joe Montana, right? How is Rodgers even in that? Like, don't get me wrong. In the regular season, he's done some amazing things on and off through his career, but that does not make him.
Shits the bed when he comes to playoffs.
It doesn't make him It doesn't make him in the running for the best quarterback of all time. I'm sorry, it just doesn't.
No, I agree with you.
Like, why the hell was I looking at 2 fucking real goats on a football pitch on Sunday night? It literally really fucked me up. Then Brady walked in with some dickhead T-shirt on.
Picture of himself.
Of himself. Like, these 2 people are just fucking immersed in their own egos, and it fucks me right
It's the only
off.
shirt that Giselle left him on the couch.
All right. Keeping pace with the Packers despite last week's primetime catastrophe, the Vikings rallied in the fourth quarter for 2 scores to overcome the Lions, a team that doesn't quite know how to close out games yet. Lions 24, Vikings 28, and all this in a game where Justin Jefferson barely featured, you tosser. So, Jefferson was held to 2 receptions for about minus 9 yards or something.
12 yards
ridiculous.
or something silly.
This is
Cleveland had a good game.
He did. This is so
3 receptions for 14 yards.
Oh, excuse me. This is so Kirk Cousins. It's
the goat.
unbelievable. Don't turn up in a primetime game. Turn up big sometime towards the end of the
You
game.
were all getting excited about the Lions having a great start to the season.
I was getting excited about the Vikings having a great start of the season, actually.
Yeah, he was big on the Vikings this year.
Week 1, I was looking amazing. Last week, I looked like a tosser. This week, I still look like a tosser.
Bit of both.
Yeah. But they won. Sorry.
We were talking to our friends over at the First and Goal podcast at half-time going, are the Lions good? And we completely jinxed them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you were all like, they are.
They are pretty.
There are times they're very
feisty.
What's the prognosis on the Amon-Ra St. Brown injury? Because he was injured in this game.
It's a problem if he's out for long.
I don't believe he is, but DeAndre Swift is also carrying multiple injuries now.
But
Jamal
Williams is doing just as well. If you've got Swift, make
not
sure
long
you
term.
Handcuffed.
From ESPN, so Brown underwent tests on his right ankle on Monday, and while the results were encouraging, the receiver status for Lions' Week 4 game against the Seahawks is uncertain. I mean, it's against the Seahawks, so
they'll probably just rest him.
I was going to say he could probably not have to risk not.
But if you're missing Amon-Ra St. Brown and DeAndre Swift, because Smith's going to miss.
Williams was decent though.
I know, but it's all they don't have a packed roster.
No.
No, Josh Reynolds, though, 6 receptions for 96 yards. And we actually saw something out of DJ Chark this week as well. 3 receptions, 46 yards. I think they're actually...
Hawkinson got a touchdown as well.
Yeah, they're distributing the ball really well.
Look, we're not expecting too much out of them, are we?
No.
So if they miss one of their best players for a couple of games and they lose by 6 points or 8 points rather than 4 points, like no one's going to be surprised.
If they get to 6 or 7 wins in the season, that is a result.
So more than a result, that is a...
Tell me why Justin Jefferson is not getting yards in the last 2 games.
Because everyone's just like gone, right, we're just going to...
Blanket in him?
Blanket him out of the game. Because Adam Thielen is still decent, but he's a lot older than he used to be. That happens. And then after that, you've got KJ Osborne.
So they can just double team him.
Yeah. I mean, not being funny, there's not...
Whether he likes it or not, they're going to...
There is not a lot of depth on that receiving.
No.
Irv Smith has been quite disappointing, I think. I was kind of hopeful.
I agree.
Been a while since I've had a decent tight end there because Kyle Rudolph went off a cliff pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's I think this is what you're going to get from the Vikings, isn't it? It's going to be they're going to blow really hot and cold, and it could be between start and end of games. That,
I think that's why they probably won't win the division. Is that I think they'll be closer to 500 by the end of the year because they will have games where they're good and they're going to have games where they're bad. And some of those games where they're bad, they might win, so they might just push them over the edge and get them into the playoffs. But I think they're a year away from being what you think they might be.
Yeah, maybe. I think every time they win a game where Dalvin Cook hasn't had to rush for 100 yards.
He's injured as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he had 96 yards, but he did miss the end of the game. He was on course for 100 yards.
He's literally on game to day to day.
Everyone's picking Mattison up on fantasy leagues right now.
Do 7 carries for 28 yards and a touchdown. Played really well. He's always been a really good backup. Whether he'd be any good over 10 games, don't know. But he's a good backup.
We don't know, but I'm going to say no.
Do you know who had more receiving yards this week than Justin Jefferson? Everybody's favourite Vikings player on this podcast.
Ham.
CJ Ham. 2 receptions for 15 yards. Just because Paul would just be delighted to see that.
It was when that was it. It was Jelani Woods' touchdown, a Jeff Swain touchdown, and then Ham went really close to a touchdown. And we were just like, that's when Paul went.
Paul's going to bust a nut.
Just imagine.
Terrible. Right, in the NFC South, the Saints travelled to Carolina to take on the Panthers, who came into the matchup on an NFL worst 9-game losing streak. Despite another poor Baker performance, a rejuvenated Laviska Shenault and a resurgent Christian McCaffrey led the way to leave the Saints ruining 2 missed field goals from Will Lutz. Saints 14, Panthers 22.
Wasn't that close, though.
It really wasn't that close. Panthers should have walked away with this one. The Saints were terrible.
Jameis is Jameis.
Jameis is Jameis. He's putting up a lot of yards. But
he's putting up a lot of interceptions as well.
A lot of interceptions. This is not good.
It's classic Jameis.
Do you reckon his eye operation just didn't work?
No, I just reckon he's just not a very good quarterback.
Well, he's got this back injury as well, and I really think it's affecting him. But I don't know what else they're supposed to do. John said Taysom Hill's out injured.
Andy Dalton's sitting there, isn't
he? Yeah. Do you go to Dalton? Because the problem is if you do, I don't know how you go back to Jameis.
Oh, you do, because Dalton will shit the bed like he's done for the last 3 teams.
Well, maybe.
They're not getting much out of Kamara.
No.
To the point where I had to look if Jim had drafted him.
Well, I did draft him, just not for my team.
Yeah. But, their best receiver, Traquan Smith, I mean, he's been a nothing.
Chris Olave
had a great game.
Yeah, 9 receptions, 147 yards. And that's fine. Like I say, Jameis put up 353 yards, but it's the 2 interceptions. It's the not finishing in the red zone.
Yeah.
It's could be the Bucks, couldn't it?
It's like last week, he threw a pick six right at the worst time possible. Yeah. It's that's Jameis. He's just Jameis Winston. I'm sorry. Some players never change, and he's one of them.
Well, I have said it before, he is just Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
It's what he is. We're going to
You
watch
love
him.
him.
I do. I love watching him play. It's entertaining. That year when
Jameis is fun.
He slings it.
the 33 touchdown,
yeah.
30 pick year
Yeah.
at the Bucks
was
is the
hilarious.
best thing I've ever
He
seen.
must have some amazing self-confidence. That player's in three-man coverage.
Let me see if I can just get that ball in there.
Yeah, that window's very, very tight.
Give it a go. Give it a go. Let's see. Oh, look. It's pick 6.
Shame, that was a lovely spiral on that.
Yeah. Well, it was worth a go. Who's next?
It does seem to be that he will just go for whatever is there. And that's the opposite to Baker Mayfield. He's just turning into a check down machine. 12 completions from 25 passes, 170 yards. He had a touchdown, sacked 3 times because he's holding the ball too long. I know the O-line's not good, but he is holding that ball.
Yes.
He just
No, he
doesn't
is.
look ready to let go.
The fact that his best pass was the Laviska Shenault touchdown, which was a pass in the flat of no more than about 5 yards before the guy caught it.
Yeah.
I like the Shenault pickup.
I do as well.
Because I think it frees McCaffrey.
I really like that. I really like that player. Of course,
Yeah.
great coming out of college. He was on a bad Jaguars team.
Yeah.
I think he needed a change, like a couple of
lot
Jags
of the
players.
Jags.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a question about McCaffrey. So 25 carries, 108 yards, 4.3 a rush. That's fine. That's good. That's okay. Like, no problem. 2 receptions for 7 yards.
Well, yeah.
But again, they didn't throw it.
Does Shenault?
Yeah, but you should be.
But does Shenault take some of that off of McCaffrey?
Yeah, but maybe. But then why is he making 25 carries? Some more of those should have been passing attempts. He only
maybe.
attempted 25 passes.
Look, similar to what we said about Saquon, he's not injured yet. This is good.
As well, like
But he's always been a bigger threat.
we've
as a
mentioned,
pass-catching back.
the Saints' offense. The only really good thing about the Saints is their defense has been pretty good. And if you're just going to not throw it very far, they're just going to bottle you up.
See, what you've done there is you've slipped into stats, right?
Yeah.
Rather than looking at the game.
Yeah.
So the Saints scored in garbage time, didn't they?
Yeah.
So they were.
points in the fourth quarter.
I understand.
So the reason why they didn't throw the ball more is
Because
because
they
they
didn't
didn't
need
need
to.
to.
I know,
So
but-
McCaffrey could just run it 3.5 yards 3 times, and then they would just get another 5 minutes off the clock. And the Panthers are so desperate for a win.
There
why
is
wouldn't
that.
you do anything else? So
That's true.
it's easy to just say, we've run it 25 times. We've only thrown it to him twice.
I think to Griff's point, though, they could have given some of those carries to Chuba Hubbard. Like he only had 3 carries. For
And maybe-
25
If
yards.
you're just running to run out the clock, you don't use McCaffrey.
Yeah,
for that.
I
but-
think he's Hubbard in that.
Yes and no, because if you just run and you don't get first downs, then it doesn't work, does
But
it?
he was getting.
So it's a mixture, and
I
I think
he was doing all right. It's only 3 carries, but it's still 8.3 yards per carry.
and I get that, and I do get that. But if you're trying to make sure McCaffrey is fit, like,
Do you know what the
he's got-
problem
he's
here
got-
is?
he's
There's
got-
2 people making a good point on this podcast,
but
and
he's
nobody
got-
knows
he's
what
got-
to do.
He's got to play, hasn't he? At some point, a full game, and and so
It's fine, but this is again similar to Justin Herbert. Why risk it? You've got a player. You're in control of the game, and you've got a player who's got an injury history, and you're asking him to do some pretty heavy work.
I think the Panthers are quite happy with how that game went.
In the NFC
sure,
South,
I'm saying.
then, these 2 teams are both 1 and 2. Which is the better team?
Neither.
No, you got to pick one. Come on now.
Saints.
The Saints have the better squad.
Yeah.
I think they're both mismanaged teams.
The Saints have a better roster, but they've got the worst quarterback.
You think Jameis is worse than Baker?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Oof, I'm
I do.
afraid I don't. Because I don't think Baker gets hot anymore. I think Jameis could still get hot
Tell
and
you
go
what,
6-game winning streak.
if you put Baker into the Saints team and just asked him to throw 8-yard slant
Michael
passes
Thomas.
to Michael Thomas,
Yeah,
that
maybe.
could work. Can we talk about one of the Panthers' touchdowns, which I think is one of the sweetest plays of the week? Marquise Haynes Senior,
it's
the
great.
pickup and then the run in for the touchdown. I've never seen a defensive end move that fast.
No.
We were showing it to Gary on the before the podcast, and I was like, "Look at the jets on this
It was amazing.
massive bloke."
It was brilliant. I loved it.
It
Plus
was amazing.
the rip out of Kamara's hands, like he wanted that fucking ball. He was gonna get. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Okay. Kyler Murray passed the ball 58 times on Sunday, but couldn't find the end zone because he's too short to see it. Matt Stafford also failed to record a passing touchdown for the first time as a Ram, but on the ground, Los Angeles had enough to overcome the Cardinals 20-12 with Akers and Kupp rushing for scores. Neither of these teams...
Akers fumbled it like seriously.
The run
He
game
needs
for
to
the
get
Rams was really bad.
It wasn't great. Well, neither of these teams have got a run game at the moment. I know everyone went bonkers about Kyler last week, but I will point out that he's not been very good this season.
No, that was a freak result last week.
And Matt Stafford still doesn't look right.
Nah.
He doesn't look right.
Better.
Yes, yeah, maybe the army's getting better, but he doesn't. Both of these teams, right? We're going to get onto the Niners shortly. I know they're last again because it was a terrible game. But in this division, nobody is ready to walk away with it. The Rams aren't way better than the Niners, and the Cardinals aren't way worse than the Niners. Yeah. And so
I think the Rams will walk away with this.
I do.
I'm not sure they will.
I really do. Like,
I think. Well,
like they might not have got it quite right yet.
They'll get there.
But what are they? 2-1. You know, and.
Okay, then let me draw your attention to the fact that Allen Robinson has 7 catches through the first 3 games of the season.
Who cares? Like,
he's done nothing.
He's done nothing for 2 years. Like, I know John was big on the Allen Robinson train, but
I think the Rams were pretty big on that.
That don't mean shit. Train. They're not paying him that much.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
They've opted not to bring back Odell Beckham because they've got
he's not even back yet.
Right.
You can still bin him straight off. I don't agree with that.
He's not contributing, is he?
He was about Jefferson's still on injured reserve as well, so there's players still to come back.
They've lost their right tackle.
Yeah.
Well, they lost
and it's already a pretty poor line.
Yeah. I just don't think the Rams are anywhere near as good as they were last year.
No, I agree.
But they did this last year, and they built through the season. And I just think I'm so disappointed with the rest of the NFC West at the moment. It's not so much that the Rams are like, wow, they're the best team in the NFC, like they were last year. But the rest of the NFC West, like from last year going, it's the best division in football to... What the fuck?
Didn't we say it last week? Like the mark of a good team is a team that plays badly and still wins.
Yeah,
I think that's where the Rams are, and they can afford to because the NFC West isn't as good at the moment as it was last year. The Seahawks are crap. The Cardinals aren't much better, and the 49ers, I think, are going to have one of those seasons where 1 week you're going to get something brilliant, and the next week you're going to lose to the Broncos by 2 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know what to make of them. I keep seeing people want to come up with reasons why Kyler's worth all this money, and it really aggravates me because it just isn't.
I like Kyler when the game completely breaks down and he improvises.
I like Kyler when he's not relying on
Clinker nuts
for his game plan.
Yeah, without Clinker nuts, he's brilliant
right now,
to watch.
If you were naming the top 10 quarterbacks, he's not in there.
No.
And I've never understood it. I think the Cardinals have probably made a mistake that they might get away with because he plays well when it breaks down. But
I'm going to do for the website. I'm going to start a quarterback power ranking for next week.
And where's Kyler right now?
Do it this week.
Where's Kyler right now? Middle of the pack at best. Like 15, 16?
I think he's possibly lower because apart from one sort of quarter where basically he just ignored what the game plan was, he's done very little. I mean, he's.
Do you not think though that the whole start of the season has been quite disjointed?
Yes, and that's because players play so much less in pre-season.
And it's been very the defenses have been on top. Like I can't sit here and go, oh yeah, that quarterback is lighting the league up.
No,
like I can't really think of apart from Lamar,
Hurts,
and Trevor Lawrence.
That would be it. The rest of them, I'd be like,
there aren't as many teams.
Even Brady, Rodgers, Russell Wilson, like. All of these players, you're going.
I don't think there aren't as many teams who are 3-0 or unbeaten as there were probably in previous
weren't there 4 teams last year went 3-0? This year there's two. Eagles and Dolphins.
And there's only one team which is 0-3, the Raiders.
Yeah.
Normally you've got the Jags,
the Lions, the Chargers,
the
Giants,
Bengals, or the Browns.
Everyone's very compressed into the middle. There's been a lot of sloppy football to start the season, and I think it's because there's fewer people playing in pre-season. It's almost like the first 2 or 3 weeks are a dress rehearsal for the rest of the year.
It's a complete mess after games.
All right, speaking of games which could be a mess, the toilet bowl of this weekend's games was Bears at Texans.
Going back to the Rams as well. Like what they're going to do is bring someone in mid-season, and that's when they will probably kick on. And you could. Do they look at it and go, well, do we bring in do you just make a move for Roquan Smith because he's got 6 months left on his contract?
Because they've got Bobby Wagner.
But I know, there'll be some big. And that's when the Rams will get good.
And the defense of the Rams is very good.
Oh, yeah,
at times,
even if the offense isn't clicking, the defense
got 100
sacks, second ever DT to ever do that.
Yeah, but sorry, I meant to bring it up, but I forgot because I got told
go back to the toilet bowl.
Sorry.
Anyway, the Bears win 23-20 despite their quarterback playing like Gary. Khalil Herbert was the hero, Davis Mills was the villain, and it was at least entertaining. But the Bears now have the worst possible winning record in the league. They are the worst team to have 2 wins by a mile.
Yeah.
They've deserved no wins.
Well,
Justin Fields is completing 8 passes a week.
They were better than the 49ers in week 1.
In that awful weather.
In the awful weather.
Because, of course, it only rains in Chicago.
Yeah.
It does rain a lot in Chicago.
Well, then...
Rains a fair bit in Seattle as well.
And in Green Bay, blah, blah, blah. So whatever. But
anyway, it was a shit game. It's not.
It really wasn't very good. Davis Mills threw a pick at the
They are
end.
the worst team that got a winning record. But they've got a winning record, and you can't take that away from them.
No, you can't. Khalil Herbert stepped in when David Montgomery injured his ankle and had
157.
Right, 1 million rushing yards it might as well have been.
2 touchdowns.
Looked really good. But the Justin Fields development is disastrous. What was he, 8 of 12?
And what is going on with Montgomery? He's fucking useless as well.
He got injured.
Well, still fucking useless.
Yeah, 8 of 17, 106 yards and 2 interceptions.
So through the first 3 games of the season, Justin Fields has thrown about 400 yards.
I can tell you.
It's not good. It's not a lot.
So far this season,
I have to go on to the next page on the NFL stats.
Luckily, I have it in front of me.
Go on.
He is 23 completions from 45 attempts for 297 yards, 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
It is actually Gary playing a quarterback.
There is no Fields of Dreams going on there, is there?
It's 70 yards less than Garoppolo.
I think Kevin Costner might actually be better.
I mean, I'm telling you, it's really bad. I feel for him because they just don't know what to do with him.
Yeah, it's not him.
It's not him, but they just don't know what to do with him. They've got no pieces on that offense around him. All right, the running back, but nothing else. Darnell Mooney's had, 6 targets through 3 games or something?
Yeah, the Darnell Mooney comeback or whatever it was, that's breakout year. Breakout year.
He's a number 1 receiver. He's had 4 receptions off 11 targets for 27 yards.
Yeah, through 3 games.
Yeah.
So I've had nearly that many stats. I'm only 27 yards behind Darnell Mooney. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I literally am. Okay, well, that was the Texans, though.
They've still got N'Keal Harry to come back.
I will say this.
Come back. Just
be in the stadium.
Don't know.
I will say this. Texans, what are you doing not winning this game?
Yeah.
Come on now. You're not going to win many games this season. This was one they should have won. Yes, it was a bad interception. I think it was tipped slightly, but it was a bad choice anyway. But Lovie Smith, man, sort it out. Get your defence working against this team. You can't be losing this game.
I mean, this is one of the games they absolutely had to win to stand a chance. I mean, let's look at their next 5 fixtures.
For the Texans?
Yeah, for the Texans. They're home to the Chargers.
Well, I could win that now.
Could win that based on what happens. At the Jags, at the Raiders, home to Titans, home to the Eagles.
They're going to lose 4 out of 5.
I would go say, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even a bad Raiders team, I think will beat the Texans.
I mean, to be fair, it makes Lovie Smith's decision in week 1 to go for the tie look better and better because they won't lose all their games.
Yep.
Right.
How's Damian Pierce doing?
Did all right this week.
Had a good week.
60 yards?
80
yards. Well, there you go. Right, and finally, it felt bad putting the 49ers last for the second week in a row, but this game was a stinker offensively. The D's dominated with 4 sacks each. The Broncos moved to 2-1 despite their failings, beating San Francisco 11-10. Waitman, the punter for the Broncos, punted 10 times for 476 yards, and Eli Manning on the Manningcast said they should have paid the millions to him. Which I thought was pretty impressive. Russell Wilson basically in the last play or 2 of the game decided to just be like old Russell Wilson and ran around and ignored the game plan, and it worked.
Sensible.
But the Nathaniel Hackett game plan is not working. He's hired a specialist in the last week.
He has, yeah.
A consultant to help him out because he doesn't know what he's doing.
Jerry somebody. I'll tell you because I wrote about it yesterday.
Yes. But basically, the team only looks any good when Russell Wilson isn't listening to the coaching
He's
stuff.
a game management
game management
because
consultant.
he doesn't know how to call timeouts.
Jerry Rosberg.
Like, has he not just thought about playing Madden for a little while?
No, there is that. I don't mind it because he's like, all right, I've got a weakness, I'm going to try and fix it.
It's a bit like when Sean McVay had that bloke dancing
Yeah,
next to him.
exactly. Yeah.
Stop him running on the
Get
street.
that guy.
He's identified he's got a weakness and he's trying
Didn't
to
that
fix
guy get
it.
arrested?
So yeah, he did. I'm fine with it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Great.
I don't mind that they're making adjustments, but I think the adjustment should be, hey, Russ, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Stop trying to be this great coach and just be like, hey, you know that, what was he, 11-year veteran of the league? Just, what do you want to do? Like, you've won a lot of games. Because when he does what he wants to do, he still looks good, but it's such a poor offense that they're running. And then on the other side of the ball, this is where it's going to get contentious.
I was going to say, I'm quite surprised you started off with Russell Wilson.
Well, it's only so I left space here. Right. So
fair.
we're going to have to just disagree on Jimmy G, I think, because Jimmy G was making his first start of the season and was bad. He Orlovski'd out the back of the end zone, and you lost by less than you give away when you Orlovski out the back of the end zone.
Yeah, but if he didn't Orlovski out the back of the
It
thing, they'd have lost by more.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, so whatever, he was bad, but it's his first start. He hadn't played all of pre-season. He wasn't given a playbook, apparently, because they thought they were trading him, so they didn't want to give anything away. Like, I bet you in another 2 weeks' time, he's back to being above average quarterback in the league and you're winning more games. And this is what I mean about the Rams and the Cardinals aren't walking away with it. You're going to be right in there.
So,
go on, Gary. You can go first.
I have a slight concern. So, our defense for the last few years has been superb. Yeah.
It's fucking amazing this year.
So, it's in like top 3 or 4 under every single category this year.
How many punts did you say? 10 punts.
Broncos had 10 punts.
So we are, with a defense like that, in the window. Right,
Yeah.
we should be in the window. We spent 3 first-round picks on the player that was supposed to take us from contenders to winners, and that obviously an injury you can't kind of explain that. But the offense for the Niners now for the last 3 years just does not fire. We talk about Shanahan being this offensive genius. That has gone, isn't it? No one's saying that anymore. The run game's struggling. Kittle's not the player he was.
Well, he's come back from an injury.
I get that, but last year he wasn't the same player either. He blocks way more these days than he has targets.
Wasn't like Kittle's best year as well when you had basically had no receipt. Like you had a very young
Before Debo broke out.
Yeah, and like I don't think that the game plan is there to have another 1,200 yards a year from Kittle.
Yeah. What I don't understand is like we started that game on offense really well. Like the first touchdown we got, marched up the field, scored a touchdown. Garoppolo's looking good. You're like, all right. And then the play, it seems like Shannon just goes into a little shell. It's almost like the losses in Super Bowls. The Falcons won, the 49ers against the Chiefs. It's almost like he's got some sort of PTSD. He's like, right, in a lead, how do we protect the lead? How do we protect the lead? Not how do we extend the lead? Because even against the Seahawks last week, they were there to score 40 points on, and we got 20-odd. This Broncos team, we should be most teams with an offensive lineup that we have, because there are some good parts there. There's Debo, there's Brandon, there's Kittle. The running game is actually still good, despite Elijah Mitchell being out. We should be scoring more points. And look, Garoppolo made some flipping horrible mistakes. Like his interception was terrible. Waltzing out of the back of the end zone is inexcusable for any quarterback. All right, we laugh about it, but come on. You're paid millions and you can't figure out where the end of the end zone is. There's a reason it's not happened since Dan Orlovsky, because it doesn't happen.
Yeah. My thing here is, actually, this is a really hard game to judge as well, because the Broncos' defense is really good.
Defense.
Randy Gregory has come in, made that team great. Yep. Chubb, he's back. Surtain is possibly one of the best cornerbacks in the league.
Top 3 cornerback in the league.
But okay,
they've got strength throughout. This was going to be a tight game, I think, because both teams have stellar defenses and offenses that have yet to click.
Top 3 defense. They played the Seahawks, the Texans, and the 49ers.
Oh, I know, but
this was your hardest game, definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I think this is my problem with Garoppolo. I think he's a fine player. I think he wins games. We know where Garoppolo's ceiling is.
Yeah,
we know he is never going to be the quarterback to put the team on his back and grind out a win. That's not him.
Would you have won this game if Trey Lance was playing?
You don't know. The problem is at the moment. So we're in year 5 now of the Shanahan era.
Yeah,
year 5.
You've been to a Super Bowl and a championship game.
We have.
Right.
Yeah, and the rest of the time we've been bad.
Yeah.
Shanahan wins when he's got average quarterbacks. The seasons where we lost, we had Brian Hoyer and then we had Garoppolo.
Beat hard boys.
Beat hard. We had Garoppolo injured
Nick
for
Mullen.
a year. Yeah. Those seasons, I think, even in those seasons, there were games where we were 1 score away. Shanahan wins when he's got an average quarterback. Garoppolo is a bang average quarterback. He's made some stupid mistakes. You're probably right. Next week, hopefully, it'll be better and we'll see a gradual increase. The defense is lit. It's on fire.
Yeah. I just want to see more dynamism in the offense. It is dull to watch.
I've always wanted to support a team where I'm just not nervous about the
They
quarterback.
haven't mixed Debo in so much, have they, this year?
No.
I don't think you're going to have anything to be nervous about with Jimmy. It may not be a top 6 performance, but by week 5 or 6, if he's playing, he's going to be fine. He won't be the reason you're losing games.
I think we'll be okay. Don't get me wrong. I think we'll have an average season around 500. I reckon. Like with now Jimmy's in place.
No, I think you're pushing the Rams. I really do. The Rams have regressed. I think you guys will be fine.
I think you beat them this weekend as well.
Yeah.
We've always got.
We normally beat the Rams,
but like that defensive unit against like 5 blokes who've just met each other.
That's 3 picks for your unit against this.
I mean, but one of the weaknesses on the 49ers offense is the interior offensive line, and we're playing Aaron Donald.
Okay, well, let's leave that where it is. I need your nominee for the sweetest player of the week.
CeeDee Lamb's
one-handed catch. Yep. Yeah, I think that was amazing.
That's what I was going to go with as well. So I will.
Jim's not having it.
Jim wants a fat man to win.
I want Marquise Haynes Sr. running.
In all fairness, we don't get many big guy touchdowns.
No.
Was he a big enough guy?
I mean, big guy.
He's not Vince Wilfork.
I'd also. I did enjoy the Laviska Shenault touchdown.
That was very good.
Well,
that catch was ridiculous.
The Duvernay catch right on the edge of the end zone, I thought was quite nice.
What about the rookie catch for the Steelers on Thursday night?
Pickens.
Yeah.
I liked it. It just, but
because that is
wasn't
the catch.
A touchdown though.
It's not, but it was the catch that made Odell Beckham famous.
Yeah,
but
that was also a touchdown.
That was a touchdown.
Yeah, but it was a replica of that
and
catch.
what's he done since then?
Got injured a lot. Well, you guys got to pick one because we have an even number of people this week.
Shit.
If you're leaving it to me, I'm taking big guy touchdown.
Yes. Well,
because I don't get enough big guy touchdowns.
Well, I think that
to be fair,
1-1 then. So
no, I want to have an offensive one because I think
we had an offensive one last week.
Did we?
Yeah.
First week we had a block punt.
Yeah.
Which was the most notable thing of the weekend.
Last week.
I can't remember.
Definitely had an offensive one last week.
Big guy touchdown it is then.
Yeah.
Big guy touchdown.
Big guy touchdown it is then.
Brought to you by Toots Sweets.
Thank you.
Right. Any other news you want to bring in? Because you do your job moment of the week is if you're the personal protector, don't back up into the punter and have your ass hoofed. Just don't do that.
Jimmy should look down.
Look at his feet. Sterling Shepherd is what you're going to say. For his ACL. That is a
problem. You can just lean on Golladay.
Well, you can't. The problem is Sterling Shepherd was your lead receiver.
Yeah, he was.
And was playing really well. He's 29. This is his second ACL tear.
Yeah.
It's
over. His career's over.
It's a real shame.
I don't know. I think
He was jogging. He was untouched and jogging. Yeah, it's over.
It's
Odell Beckham was watching the game and he's blaming the surface. He said the pitches.
That's the same surface where Nick Bosa did his knee a couple of years back.
He's saying that the surfaces are not good.
I remember
the MetLife. Yeah, it's not good.
It's not a good surface.
There was a couple of years back. It seemed to be an injury every week by ACLs, which was the COVID year. But it's a shame because Golladay. I mean, I could achieve more separation than Golladay.
Only with your Tinder dates.
It's a shame you've got such a tiny catch radius. With
Exactly. But
Did you say only with your Tinder dates? That's just harsh.
Yeah. Fucking hell. But yeah, no, I think Golladay's gone.
Myles Garrett's car accident?
Yeah.
Yes.
Flipped it twice, didn't he?
Avoiding an animal. Apparently,
right.
There's no other car involved. He was released from hospital earlier today.
Oh,
minor injuries.
What animal was it?
I have no idea. I know it was a Porsche he was driving.
A very lucky animal, I guess.
It was a very dear mistake then.
Oh dear.
I'm actually quite impressed he can fit in a Porsche. He's a big guy, and Porsche's a small car.
Well, you have 4x4 Porsches now, don't you?
Oh yeah, maybe it was a big Porsche.
I imagine it's a big Porsche. I can't remember what they're called. Porsche.
Yeah.
Porsche dickhead.
Porsche dickhead.
I know, only dickheads drive them.
Well, you can tell, what's his name, the boxer that works next to me, Matt thingy. His name's gone out of my head. Just call him Matt all the time.
Matt Skelton?
Yeah. He works in the building next to me and drives one. You can tell him.
He is a big lad.
I will.
I'd love to see you fighting with your little reach.
No,
better than watching Ellie Simmons on Dancing with the Stars.
I just remember when Leeds had to fire Thomas Brolin because he pretended he'd crashed his car avoiding a moose.
Thomas Brolin. Justin Fields' 297 passing yards for the first 3 weeks is the lowest total since the merger for a starting QB.
Fuck me. It's over. It's done. He needs to move on. Either I don't think they're going to get rid of the coaching staff. He needs to go somewhere else. He'll be fine. He's a good athletic quarterback. He'll be fine, but not under this defensive coaching staff. It's just backwards thinking.
They just need a game manager to just throw it. They need Jimmy.
Yeah, they probably do.
Get Fields.
Yeah, do a swap.
Do a swap.
In all fairness.
I would take that. Fucking hell.
It's who you should have taken anyway.
Probably right.
We didn't get the choice.
If Mac Jones is out long term,
we did, yeah.
Mac Jones is out long term, would you take a second round pick for Jimmy G for the Patriots? Because I think we'd be willing to give it up.
2 second-round picks. That's why it stumbled. Ooh. Apparently, there was a deal with the Commanders, although everyone's denying it. That they had it all lined up before Jimmy G went for his surgery.
Yeah, Jimmy G
went for surgery.
Didn't Jimmy G hear about that and go for surgery?
Fuck that shit! I'm not going there. Yeah.
Quite right too. All right. If there's nothing else, we will sign off for the week. We'll be back next week. Check out the Twitter feed at
the Snap UK
and join us during the games where John and Jim and Gary do live tweeting and I'm banned.
It's because you're a dickhead.
Good reason.
Some of those tweets would have been funny. Right, that's enough from us. Good night all.